dad had his time. Maybach Music had their time. Rick Ross made enough money in America. He doesn't need any more. There's a lot of kids starving out here, bud. That's why I'm doing music myself. He's already got millions. He's already got hundreds of acres. He's got everything in the world. That's what they said about that world domination stuff. It's like once you have so much, you don't need anything else. He owned Maybach Music. I was a part of Maybach Music for a while. But I always knew that it was never going to be Maybach. I knew it was going to be Bentley. Because he had already outdid the Maybach Music. And I had already been wearing their watches because Bentley has a watch company called Breitling. And I had already been wearing Breitling since 2010, shortly before I had met Rick Ross. Same with my brother Gotti. Gotti's Bentley music. I don't know what we're going to call it yet. Breitling Musicians? Breitling Musicians is a decent one. They have really nice watches. They're comparable to your other famous, very expensive luxury watch companies that everybody talks about. Everybody wants to talk Audemars. Everybody wants to talk the Rolex. Breitling. They're very fine. Big bezels on a lot of them. And I believe not only the Bentley car, they go with your Bentley cars and all that. They're you can own a Breitling without owning a Bentley, and you can own a Bentley without owning a Breitling, but they go so well together. But then you also have diver ones, and you have ones that are for people that are up in the sky, instruments for professionals, style at sea, extreme performance, pilots, right? The icon for pilots. This is the icon for pilots, one of the best pilot watches in the world. Here's an they have some, well, actually, they're the best ultimate diving watches in the world. I mean, check the price out. These are the best of the best. I mean, for surfers, divers, anybody that deals with water and is going to get their wrist wet a lot, this is your watch that's going to last you for your whole entire life. It's going to look beautiful and great. Women are going to like it, men the same, and it's going to last you and do its job. Tell the time and tell the date and etc. And when you're on the job and stuff, time matters down to the exact second and whatnot, minutes and yada yada, on when you need to do your next routine or what have you. And you have the nice colors to stand out. My watch is nicely secured on my wrist, and I can easily read the dial. Then you have these ones. These ones are more like sporty. I feel like you're in your Bentley, and you're a Bentley. Like Bentleys, you might be going through the hills. I mean, I've seen videos of those Bentleys riding through kind of like the forest, not the forest, the hills. Bentley. Let me see. There's all different variations. It goes well with the Bentley watch. The Breitling watch goes well with the Bentley, whether it's their sports cars or their other luxury vehicles. It goes well with it. I mean, you can see here he doesn't have any Breitling on, but what watch would match? What watch would look great on that left wrist there to go along with his dash and all that? That would be the Breitling. See? It matches the vehicle. You have your time right on your wrist. You got other information. But the Breitling costs, hey, 6,000 at least, or what have you, 4,000 and whatnot too. Sometimes you get the Breitling for free to go along with your Bentley. You have to really do your hunting when you're buying your Bentley and say, I want a Breitling watch with mine. Oh, you do? Then they'll get in contact with Bentley and they'll see like, hey, could you include a Breitling or something or other for a certain, etc. But they do that. They do it. Just like another company did shoes and all that. Cadillac used to give you a pair of shoes. I used to have a pair of Cadillac shoes. My brother got somehow, and they got sold. They came with the vehicle. Somebody bought one of these Cadillac vehicles, and it came with the Cadillac shoes. It wasn't like these shoes, but it was actually some very stylish Cadillac shoes. It's back to those days, it seems like. Actually, there's even a bigger deal that I've heard about that I want to do. It's when you buy the house and the luxury car comes with the house. I've heard of this. You can do that. You can buy the house. You have the car in the garage ready to go. Comes with the house, no hassle. You pay the cash or whatever, what have you, and then you get that finance all sorted out, and you get the car with the house. And then you just, hey, this is easier than you think to do. How, you might say? Well, don't spend as much money on food, and then get your down payment fine, and then just hop in your Lamborghini Ferrari, go see your old friend, and say, hey, do you have $5 I can borrow for this, that, and the other? And you're going to be eating a hot dog in your Ferrari and going back to your house. Because they got $5. Just ride your Ferrari enough times around, you're going to find somewhere to eat. Trust me. I do it all the time on my motorcycle. Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, the guy in the Ferrari's coming to visit me. Here, have a burger. Because they know that in like a year, a couple years or something, once you get on your feet, something's going to come out of it bigger than a burger. They have so many cars on these lots, they're just sort of wearing away. Just dying for somebody like me to have the chance of being an owner. Like I seen the other day a car lot, it's got like, we're talking money. You got like 100,000 cars in your lot, and you got a guy like me. You just give a guy like me one car, and you're talking a celebrity business. But no, those cars are just rusting away because not everyone can. Everybody's got their cars, and then me, I'm in the market for a car, so let's figure it out. But I don't got a lot of cash. I don't got a lot of cash. But I'll tell you what, I'm a good salesman, and a lot of people watch me, and we're talking over 50,000 impressions every week or whatever. That's on the lower end, the high lower end. You're talking lots of sales, empty your car lot just by giving a guy like me one of your vehicles. Out of what? You got 50, we got 10,000 cars, you got 500 cars on the lot, and they're all just sitting there forever. And nobody's going to take this one. But StacksAMilli could be in that one, and I swear, you're going to get some sales. People are going to see Stacks in it, and they're going to come and they're going to buy that $100,000 vehicle. And you're going to make like 4 or 5 sales, and you just made 500 grand for giving me one car that's worth 100 grand or whatever. So think about it, because I've made millions in sales for lots of companies. Ask around. and offers. But I really need a new vehicle. I used to have an Escalade. I used to have that other motorcycle. I just bought a new motorcycle. But hey, I'm looking for a nice vehicle. And give me a house too. And we can make it happen. My mom got a trailer, but that's not me. You have to give it to me. Thomas, Perron-Slote, StacksAMilli, and then you'll see your magic be made. Hey, there's nothing you can do. When you give it to somebody else in their name, that's somebody else in their name. That's not me. And that's happened a couple times. My brother got an investment for $25,000. It never got as far as I would have made it, etc., etc. My name's StacksAMilli. My real name's Thomas, Tom, Tommy. I'm going to be around this world for a long, long time. Get to know me. We can do business. Hell, I'll probably be buying something with cash in the future. Look at this son of a gun. Or these little ones. Anything. Anything would be good. As you know what you say, Tom, why is it now? I mean, like, you got a new motorcycle. Well, guess what? I live in Canada. And what's going to happen with poor Tom in the wintertime? You still got your mom a little bit, Tom. Well, guess what? A lot of my friends' moms, my peers, the ones I went to school with, their moms have been dying, right? Passing away. So that has woken Tom up. Whoa, Tom's getting older. Parents are dying and whatnot. Tom needs to start saving his money, start thinking more like an adult. Like saving significant amount of money to get a mortgage, or, hey, even if I were to get evicted, hypothetically, even though I try to follow the rules and all that, you never know. You could have money to get a new place. I'm allowed up to $50,000 in my account on my disability. The reality is I'm at the age parents are dying. Okay? So I have to be smart as a disabled man. You know, I'm a vulnerable adult. I don't have anybody like some other people do. It's me, myself, and I. To make sure that Tom is going to be safe and secure in the future. And I know no one cares about Tom like Tom cares about Tom. Tom cares a lot about Tom. So I'm going to be working hard every day. I won't be probably in Bruce County housing my whole entire life. I wish I was. Well, I could be. I could be and I could not be. But I know how life changes, and I should be ready for that. My dad and family and everyone used to call that a rainy day. But as you get older, you start to realize it's not just a rainy day. It could be any kind of day where you may need security to make sure that you're safe in this world, that you don't die, or you don't get hurt, or you don't endure suffering. And I'm still young enough to make sure that I'm going to be ready for something like that, because it's inevitable. It will happen. That's why I work so hard every day. That's why people are giving me gifts. That's why people are making sure. That's why I'm working on my royalties. Yes, potentially one day I could be wealthy in the unforeseeable future. That's a good thing. It's a bad thing to the contrary. But at the same time, I could just be making it to the next stop, you know? Just like everyone else is. Potentially. I'm not much of a fraudster scammer. You got ones that got 19 million in the bank and they still smile in your face like that with the one cucumber, acting like they need it to the death point, and they got 19 million in the account. So watch out for those ones. Greedy fucking pigs. that deserve to be wrenched in blood. They have everything, yet I still feel them grabbing for my little personal necessities. You could die for that. And then they go like this. Oh, we didn't know it was like that. That was his necessity. And yeah, so you need to watch it. Because I would get off in court for that. Because that would be robbery of the food out of my mouth, etc. And it goes back to the American courts and yada yada, believe it or not. Once it hits the Supreme Court of Canada, it starts hitting the American courts and all that. And they have a self-defense thing. If you didn't know, it goes back to American law, NATO law, all that. If it supersedes the Supreme Courts. If it starts to supersede the Supreme Courts, it goes to like the humanitarian courts and all that. NATO, the Americans, yada yada, Britain, Europe, etc., and it would be justified. So watch how you steal it the other peoples that need it.